Raphael Varane and Harry Maguire. Sell one, keep one, or do you sell both or keep both? Welcome to the United Hotspot. My name is Webb. Now, after that insanely good performance against Liverpool, people have started debating about the future of Raphael Varane. Remember, he has been wanted by clubs in Saudi Arabia, but has clearly been insistent on staying at Manchester United and fighting for his place. Does he even need to fight for his place? The reality is, if Raphael Varane is fit, he's probably our best centre back, and he proved that in the big game, the biggest at a stage and at worst atmosphere against Liverpool. But now the question is, as we go into the January transfer window, with his contract set to end at the end of the next summer, 30th of June, do we trigger an extension? Do we extend his stay at the club? Or do we actually let go of him at the earliest, which could even be January? Meanwhile, between him and Harry Maguire, who do we keep? Who do we sell? Maguire was the best player from the last month. He has clearly been our most improved footballer. He has clearly now looked like he's the world class centre back he is. We are confused. What do you think? Here's my take. Raphael Varane, without a doubt, I wasn't surprised by his performance against Liverpool. Those are performances you expect from him. In fact, I understand he nearly broke a record, I think, for the most interceptions and tackles in the game, the Premier League record. Those performances are what we know Rafael Varane is capable of doing. And when he's in the team, he's obviously going to work well, more so having players like Kobe Maino or the hardworking Sofian Amrabat around him. You obviously you will see him reading the game right and going into the perfect tackles. Typical performance he gave us against Liverpool. But the thing is, if you are earning over 300,000 pounds per week, that's nearly 340,000 pounds per week. You've got to be giving those performances every other day, every weekend. You've got to be giving us those performances. Now, do we think Rafael Varane has what it takes to give us such performances? Yes, as a footballer, he's that good. That is his level. That's why he has won multiple Champions League titles with Real Madrid in a team that had the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, Karim Benzema, Casemiro, Tony Cruz, name them. But the plus a World Cup, reached the final again. So he's that good player. He's an elite footballer. The thing for me is we cannot rely on him when it comes to his fitness. So that is why, for me, I would bite a bullet and think twice about whether to extend his contract or not. For me, what I think, whereas Varane has given us a good game, that should be good enough to attract decent money for him. My feeling is, if in January there is a chance, and I know that John Mata flew to Saudi Arabia to try and vend a few players, something I've been praying for from the last summer transfer window, hoping our players can be vended because no one really, was attracted to by any of them. But if he's going to Saudi Arabia to vend these players and try to make money, it is actually a good opportunity now to vend Rafael Varane because he played a good game. His last performance was so good, world class, meaning his value can go up a bit. We can get and we can negotiate for a decent fee from him, unlike before when we knew how good he is, but he was not proving it on the pitch. So we had to talk a lot and convince buyers of how good he is and perhaps try to bargain for a decent fee. For me, I'm thinking Manchester United should be selling Varane now because we can perhaps negotiate for a 30 million pounds for him. That would be a decent figure to earn to add on our accounts if you're going to go into the market and also buy players. So Varane, good performance, but not good enough for him to stay. Not because he's good, but because we won't be sure. After 2 games, he will be injured again, and then we'll go back to square one. So as a manager, Eric Ten Hag, you've got to find ways of dealing with that confusion. You're not going to have such a huge centre back, very important player, but never there. So you're building something, but after 2 games he will be out. Then you have to struggle again. So you would rather sacrifice him, get players who are younger and fitter, hungrier, and build the team around those. So for me, when it comes to Varane, I still think we should sell him. Number two, Harry Maguire. If we are to choose between the two, Harry Maguire and Raphael Varane, for me, it's without a doubt Harry Maguire right now is ahead of Raphael Varane in terms of pecking order. Not because he's certainly become a better footballer, but probably because Maguire, I think, can give us more for the future than Raphael Varane. It will be very difficult for Maguire to go back to where he was. I think he has been through his worst. He's more confident now, given the wins he has got, the play of the month and all. And we've seen his improvements. And the reality is, Maguire is actually a perfect footballer for the kind of setup Eric Ten Hag wants. When he's good, he will help us distribute the ball, he will pass the ball around, and he's a leader. Maguire is a leader. Yes, we stripped him of the captaincy, understandably, but it has not taken away the fact that he's a natural leader. He will come and talk to people, calm people down. If you ask me, he was a better deserving captain than even Bruno Fernandes, not because of the football, but because of how he carries himself as a player. Look what he did and how he fought himself back up after going through the worst ordeal of his career, sitting so many matches on the bench, people calling him out every day on social media, left, right, and center, but still keeping his cool head and showing character to bounce back. And now we are saying, oh my goodness, we want Maguire. We are putting him in the same conversation with Raphael Varane. So for me, when it comes to Maguire, such a player who has shown the heart for the club, who has shown the fight, he has been captain before, he has fought for his place and earned it. He's an example for the future. He's the attitude you want at Manchester United. So for me, Harry Maguire, not moving a muscle. Let him stay on, and let him see out his contract, at least for now, unless things go bad. But for me, if there is one player I can bet my nut on, I think it is Harry Maguire, who will never go back to the poor levels he was at. I think we've seen the worst of him. We are yet perhaps to even see the best of him. He can only get better because of his mentality. So, if there is a debate in the head of Eric Ten Hag and co, and whoever Ashworth or whoever director of football is coming on whether to sell or not Harry Maguire or Raphael Varane, I'll just make it easy for you. Sell Raphael Varane for the most amount of money you can to Saudi or wherever. Keep Harry Maguire. That's my honest 2 cents. What do you think? Think about these two players. Think about our centre back. Think about what we are building. Think about how we want to organize our team in the future, and let me know your honest opinion. And by the way, the advent of Kobe Maino had actually made it look like we are not as badly off as we thought we were when it comes to the centre back positions. In fact, if anything, I'm one of those who are thinking we might actually be more desperate, or more in need of a right back and maybe a left back than we actually need a centre back in this next transfer window. If we have little money to spend on on a defender, I think we might first sign either a left back or a right back before we think about signing a centre back. I think in Lisandro Martinez, Victor Lindelof, Harry Maguire, and Varane is still there now. I think we've got this Johnny Evans as well. Of course, his contract is ending after 1 year. But the other four guys, I think for me, we do have actually decent centre backs. And there are not so many great ones by anyway. So for me, instead I'm thinking we could bring in a Todibo as a right back. Of course, he can play as centre back at times when any of this is injured. But the bigger elephant in our room when it comes to our back line is the left back and the right back. Wan Bissaka has failed to step up to what we expected. Diogo Dallo is still dalloling. Left back, Luke Shaw, I think his levels have dropped since that injury. We've seen it. He's good, he's technical. We cannot bank on him. Tyrell Malaysia, who should have been his backup, doesn't play football. He's always in the sick room. So what do we do? Do we sign a centre back first when you have Lindelof, Varane, Maguire, and Martinez, and Luke Shaw can play centre back at times, or do we first sort left back and right back? Subscribe to the United Hotspot. My name is Webb. Sell or keep Raphael Varane and Harry Maguire. What's your take?